Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for Live from the Knitting Wars. I'm Deplorable Knitter, and I'm joined by Horror Amorata. Hi! Thanks
Hi,
for
how's
coming
it
on. As you can see, we're a little light on the people, but they all should be coming. I just didn't want to keep you guys waiting any longer, so we decided we would forge ahead and see what we could do. So, why don't you remind our viewers who you are, because I think it's been a while since we've had you on.
It's been a couple months. Yep. So I'm Horror Amorata. I stream games and talk politics and random shit because that's just who I am. Looking more into diving into some fairy tales and stuff on Rumble to kind of combat the whole issue with Disney and their changing of fairy tales and other issues. So that's something I'm looking forward to getting in. And yeah, you will find me mostly on Rumble right now because I'm done with Twitch. So I just
Is
got
it
tired of them.
you got tired of them? Are
Yeah.
they obnoxious and
Well, I mean, the best way for me to describe it is that I got tired of the fact that they don't care about their viewers or their creators. I
right?
literally went on one day and they have a things you are for you section, and it was all full of half naked ASMR streamers. And I have never expressed an interest in half naked ASMR streamers. So yeah, I decided it was time to leave because I'm not a half naked ASMR streamer. So
I've joined just at the right moment.
I thought you might like that.
Yeah. Oh, and there's Anne too. Look at that. Although it looks like we're looking at her chair.
Mike, there
Hi,
we go.
Anne. What is
There we go.
happening?
I was just about to say, I wish I was a half naked ASMR streamer. Man.
I mean, it's
People
really
get all the
easy. You just
luck.
take off half your clothes and talk really quiet.
I find
Make
those
weird
people really
noises.
creepy. Like the weird mouth pops and like,
Yeah.
not into that.
I'm doing it. Can I make money now? Like,
I mean, what you really got to do to really make the money is you got to get the ones with the ears on it, and then you lick the ears.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's
Like,
wait.
yeah.
okay, like
I don't.
the ears, which
They have so they have microphones, and
microphone.
and they're shaped like ears on either side because it's a left and right microphone for stereo audio. So you're supposed to hear it from the left and then you hear it from the right. But these ladies will then proceed to do things that don't necessarily look like things you would normally do with ears.
Wasn't that a thing in Star Trek, like with the Ferengi? That they have ears
I
and
mean,
it's like
yes, the
little
Ferengi have a
traumatized.
thing for their ears,
Yeah.
but that's not what they're doing. For example, on the not the For You tab that I was talking about, one of them was basically had the camera about here for kind of a point of view shot, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's basically why I decided
Twitch is
I'm
no
done with
longer.
Twitch.
Yeah. So gross. When
And she's like, God, why did I let her on here?
I blame Anne, it's her. No.
No, actually, we've talked about weirder stuff. That's okay.
No, we do talk about some really strange stuff sometimes. But when you are streaming game stuff, what games are you playing? Like, what kind of stuff do you do?
I play all sorts of games. I do like horror games, obviously. We spend a lot of time playing Valheim. On Sunday, I played the most relaxing horror game you'll ever play, which is Anemoiopolis, and it's basically a very liminal space game that, I mean, they've got some really nice, relaxing music, and then they've got these moments that you're kind of terrified because it rides that line between relaxing and just creepy. So,
okay. I was just curious if it was anything I'd heard of, but I'm lost. So cool.
I've probably played the ones you've heard of too, but
live.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but it makes sense.
Sorry,
Yes,
I only realized that we were actually alive. See, I was getting in like, oh, y'all still just talking before we start the show. No, that is not what happened at all.
No.
Sorry.
We're here. We're live. We're talking.
No, we started because you hadn't texted me back yet. I said, okay, we're going live. And then you finally texted back. So I was like, yeah, we'll just get started.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't notice the live icon here. I was messing with my computer, not making eye contact. I'm sorry.
It's all good. But I was just having Horror remind people of who she is because it's been a while since she came and joined us. So that's all. And we were talking crocheting before we got started because I could not for the life of me find the right size hook, and she pointed me in the right direction. So now I'm going. I'm on a roll.
Okay.
So what's up with you guys? What's up, Anne?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just realized I probably won't get the Ferengi comment more widely. Anyways, sorry.
Okay.
No, I'm doing fine. I'm doing stuff. That's all good. How are you?
Stuff.
Neil was late. He was feeding cats.
I was, and then I had a bit of a tech problem. For some reason, I can't get my camera to work properly, so I'm using my laptop camera, which is why I look all misty.
Yep.
And
yeah, you have a soft lens today.
Very cool. So, what do we want to talk about today?
Ooh, where do we
so
start?
Many things, right?
Yeah, there is. Somebody should throw a subject in. Go on.
Well, was anybody else just completely disgusted by our president yesterday making jokes about ice cream while going to a press conference about a school shooting, or was that just me?
Well, I'd just like to say he's not my president, but yes, I was disgusted.
Yes, that is true.
Only my former vice president. So
you have a whole new bag of shit at your place, though. So I guess it depends on what you want. No, but seriously, like, okay, I know the dude is senile and stuff, but what is happening? Nothing. Okay.
He's just too old. He's old, and they say go over here, do the thing, and somehow between taking 3 steps to the left and getting to where he's supposed to do the thing, he manages to say something stupid that they didn't anticipate because they don't know what they're doing any more than they barely know what they're doing more than he does, and he just it's literally elder abuse at this stage. So
yeah, no, it truly is.
Well, something I noted, and I don't know whether it's connected or not, it probably isn't, but what is it with the Democrats and drawers of ice cream? Because didn't Nancy Pelosi do a whole video in her kitchen with a drawer full of something?
Expensive ice cream, yeah.
Yeah,
in a very expensive freezer.
Is it a code? Are they sending secret messages to somebody?
Is it like the pizza thing?
I think it's just that they really think the American public's that dumb. We eat ice cream too, so we're cool.
Oh, a bit like, what was she called when she had that bottle of beer? What was she called? I forgot her name. Pocahontas.
Oh,
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren.
How bad's that I only know her nickname. I don't know her real name.
It's okay. It's bad enough that you have to hear about our senators. It's just...
Well, going back to Biden, did he actually address the issue, or did he just talk about the ice cream? Because I've only seen that bit at the beginning, the crazy bit. Yeah. I didn't see whether he got onto the real subject.
Not only did he talk about the ice cream, but it was like he pointed out someone in the audience of, are all those kids yours? It's like, oh, you have a good looking bunch of kids. They should all stand up. Like, yay. And I'm like, it's weird. Okay.
And you're here to talk about a school shooting. Let's not be like, look at all these cute kids, like stuff's going on here.
Yeah. Biden and kids should not be in the same sentence, really. Let's face it.
And Neil, that's why he talks about ice cream all the time, because he's trying to get the little kids.
Yeah. I've got a drawer full of ice cream. Come round to my place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is also like a very, very kind of childish, like, it's like, well, I've got ice cream. Well, my house has 100 bathrooms. Like,
yeah. Don't worry that people have died. I've got ice cream. Yeah, it doesn't matter about the deaths.
Yeah.
Did
I
he
don't
mention
know.
his leg hair again? That has to be one of the creepiest things I ever heard.
Yeah, the
It
whole
is something.
incident.
Didn't he say that in a like a what should be an official moment as well? The whole leg hair thing. That wasn't just him talking, was it?
No, it was some kind of speech or something where he got off
Yeah.
track and started going on a wandering rant about kids and leg hair and
Touching his legs in the pool or something. Wasn't that like it was a very
Yeah,
strange thing.
it was definitely before he was president. I don't know if it was vice presidential or before. It is an older clip. But I
No,
don't remember
it
exactly
was
where
during the campaign or something. It wasn't
Mm,
back that far.
Okay, sorry. I couldn't quite remember where.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah.
No, that one was recently confirmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
The diary is real.
The
So
diary is real.
the showers.
Yeah.
Is that what?
She
Yeah.
had. I saw the passage about I have to take showers like late at night or something so he doesn't bother me. Like
Mhm.
Wow.
that's CPS child abuse stuff, and nobody. Dude, he's got his son's laptop, his daughter's diary, and everybody's like, "There's nothing to see here. Don't worry, it's fine." Like, what is happening?
Oh, but they're still focusing on whatever it is Trump's supposed to have done. What was it? What is he alleged
Paid
to have
off
done?
a porn star.
Stormy Daniels.
With campaign funds. Is that what the issue is?
Supposedly, yeah.
No, his
No.
lawyer did it. They've said that his lawyer did it, but because his lawyer did it, it turns into like taking a contribution that was too much for the campaign or something. Like it like whatever they're going after is not a thing. It's just crap.
Yeah, because if Trump did do that, he'd have just done it out of his own money, surely. You know, he's a billionaire, isn't he? It's not like he needs their money.
Right. Well, the argument is that if you are paying somebody off, that because that is a material benefit to you, that counts as a campaign contribution.
Yes. Thank you, Anne.
But,
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, but you can't do that because lots of things could be material benefit.
Yeah, where'd you stop?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, if the road outside your house is redone, that might be considered a material benefit to you. Where there's no amount of ending, that's why it's specifically cash. But yeah, so and because anyways, it's all been debunked anyways because the lawyer paid him off and he paid his lawyer, and you're allowed to have as much campaign contribution to yourself as possible. So
Yep. You can put all your money into your campaign.
yeah,
But
besides being outside the statute of limitations and the rest of it, and yeah.
So what actually happened with the shooting? So I've only heard little bits off, talking heads on YouTube. So how true all of it is, I don't know. But my understanding is that it was a person of the trans persuasion who killed 3 people, I think.
6.
3 children and 3 adults.
Oh, 6. Oh, wow.
3
Right.
9-year-olds, and then the rest of them were in their 60s. And she had attended the school there and was disgruntled for some reason. I'm not entirely clear on the whole story. I don't know if it's come out, but
No, we don't know why so much.
but
well, someone was speculating that she
Yeah.
had a crush on another girl who rejected her, and that's why she went through the whole trans thing to try and get her, because the other girl was straight, and obviously but this is just speculation that I saw on a video. Whether it's true, I don't know.
That's disturbing. But the thing is that school only went up to like 6th grade, which means she's 28. So she like had 15 years worth of anger towards this school. Like it's all just very, very weird.
She was 28.
Yes.
Yeah, no, she was an adult. She wasn't a kid who went in
the
and
school
shot.
only goes up to like 6th grade. So it's not like I graduated from there 2 years ago and I'm still pissed off at them. No, I stopped going there in 6th grade and I'm still pissed off at them. Like,
oh, I actually thought she was a student there. So it's not like oh God, that's I mean, how would you describe that? That isn't the same as normal school shootings, is it? I mean, normal. that phrase is like weird.
The fact that you just said that is
sad. It's not as if, I mean, most school shootings are, I mean, it's really rare that this is a woman shooter. Like that almost never happens.
Right.
But that
Do you mean a man? She was a man.
A
Yeah,
trans man shooter.
does this confirm her as a man? Because that's just I don't even want to go there. But that, yeah, normally you think, high school boy goes to shoot up his high school, college boy shoots up his college.
Yeah.
That for this to be such a kind of long-term thing coming back is.
Well, I mean, probably no one's going to like hearing it, but I do wonder if maybe there wasn't something that happened to her in the school involving the teachers or something that would stoke that kind of anger personally.
Right.
Without
Well-
knowing that kind of detail.
Yeah.
Well, then
I
she
mean, in the
waited
end, it
10
doesn't
years.
matter. What matters is that she had a problem. Nobody addressed the problem, and it came to this.
Yeah. No, I
Right.
mean,
And I don't know. Well, like I said, there might have been something that happened to her at the school. I don't know. Who knows? But that whatever anger she had, it wasn't that guy, I'm going after them. It was clearly a group.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
kids, why shoot 3 9-year-old kids?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just say 9. Are they 9? I think you said they were 9,
Yeah,
didn't you?
They were
Yeah.
9. Yeah. No, I noticed that because they're the same age as my oldest, and
Uh,
every time this
Mm.
stuff, I mean, it's horrible every time, but when they're young, I don't. Those
When
kids
there's
didn't do shit to her. That's all I know. Even if they were
Yeah.
teenagers, they wouldn't have had any. With her being 28, but
Well, with her being 28, they weren't even born when she was there. So
right, exactly. She planned it for another school, but it had too much security. Well, that's interesting. That's
That
what Liz Clothier says. So
interesting.
Would it? Okay, so I haven't heard this, Liz, but did she originally plan it for another school she had attended? Because that would be an interesting. Like
that
you're
would
going.
make more sense.
I don't know.
do you think that she just wanted her name to go down in history like the others that have done it? Because I don't understand that need to kill people. You know what I mean? I mean, you sometimes say it, don't you? Oh, God, I wish I could kill such and such a body, but you don't really mean it.
Right.
But then to actually do it, and to do it to complete strangers that you presumably have no connection with, especially if it's at a different school. I mean, I don't understand, but I don't know. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah. I don't know. And it's I didn't think to write it down because I'm me, but I saw something today about how like the last 4 not the last 4 consecutive, but out of the last mass shootings, several of them have been trans. And they're trying to make you accept all this stuff and that these people with mental illness that this is good for them, but really they seem to be lashing out and stuff. So maybe we need to, I mean, obviously the lefties are never going to go admit that they're wrong, but
Well, there have been lefties that have been more upset that but our side, especially in the media, have been misgendering the killer. And it's like, oh, F off. You know what I mean? Just F off with that. I'm trying not to swear here. It's like,
Well,
I don't care.
Oh, wait, we're not supposed to swear? Fuck. Oh, sorry.
But I'm a polite Brit. You know what we're like.
but that's the thing. Like, okay, so they're mad at us for misgendering her. How about we be mad that she's obviously got a mental illness that's not being dealt with, and this is how she's dealing with it, or she
Mhm.
decided to deal with it.
Well, and I would say, okay, so we see, that she was trans and this was a problem. She was trans and she had this problem. It's not necessarily you're trans and therefore you're going to,
Right.
commit some heinous acts against people.
No,
But yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. We're confirming that we all agree. Hi,
nobody
yeah.
thinks that even a little bit. But
Right.
also, we know that being trans is a mental health issue. So therefore, these people are not getting the care they need.
Right, that there's a lot of people, a lot of detransitioners that I've heard some people say, hey, I was also bulimic and I was cutting myself and I had all these other issues and they pushed me towards hormone treatment and surgery. Why didn't you say we have some other mental health issues that we'd like to address? That there is that push in one direction when they're, that, like I said, a lot of detransitioners have said, I had other problems. Why didn't we address them first before saying that this is my only problem? So if you're like, okay, so they're trans, I mean, it's possible that they have other stuff going, that is a high mental health issue thing, that there's high correlation between the two, I mean.
Well, it's always down to a quick fix. People just want to fix a problem and move on. And mental problems, especially, require work and understanding. And I mean, they talk about affirmative care, but in the end, affirmative care doesn't really care. It just says, okay, you're fine how you are. You don't have to change anything. Or, well, you might have to change into what you might be pretending you are, but you're not. It doesn't actually do anything. It lets people go further down their rabbit hole instead of making them stop and think and do actual hard work to help grow themselves.
Just slightly adjacent to this is one thing I'd like to know more about is what the effects on a woman are when she suddenly takes too much testosterone.
Anger.
Does that make their aggression right? You know, because with men, your testosterone, when you're a teenager, that's when you're probably at your most aggressive. You know, you hate the world, you're fighting with your friends, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so these women may be overdosing with it. I don't know. You know, I'm not suggesting she did. Who knows? And what does that do to a person? You know,
it does. It's proven to increase aggression in females. I mean, that is part of the role of testosterone in your body. Is it does stimulate the nervous system in a way that creates aggression. So depending on what was going on with her, it could very well play a factor.
That's true. Not that I don't want to continue this, but I just saw Nancy in the chat, and Nancy has been going through a lot of cancer treatments recently. Yes. And she just had a picture of her ringing the bell at the hospital. So congratulations.
Oh, really? Oh, I missed that.
Yes. Congratulations, Nancy.
Ah, brilliant.
And she wants to know what color lipstick you're wearing, Anne. So there you go.
SMA red. It's kind of smeary, but I do like it.
Mine's natural.
Oh, Neil, we all know you're joking.
I mean, makeup does make men look more masculine.
It does?
What?
Is that
that was out this week? Yeah.
Putting out for Women's Month? Is that one of the things I missed?
Yeah.
It is.
Well, I watched
like total guy liner, like, yeah, it makes you look more masculine. Like, oh.
I watched the thing today that I think I mentioned this ages ago when we first did a video. But about what women find attractive when they're going through the menstrual cycle. So if you're taking birth control pills, for example, your body is tricked into thinking that it's pregnant or can't have babies or whatever the trick is, I don't know. But at that point, more women are attracted to female-looking men. And it's when you're fertile that you're attracted to masculine men with, you know, the jaws and the, you know, big muscles and whatever. And one of the things is this is why a lot of these, you know, a lot of these non-binary women now, if you look at their male partners, they're almost always very feminine, weak looking. I don't know what the word is. And I just wonder whether they never actually come off their birth control pills. Because, you know, if you take birth control, you're supposed to come off, aren't you, for at least, is it a week, a month or something, you know, so that you can have a period.
Depends on the birth control, but yeah.
Is it different? But I wondered whether some people just continue and continue and continue.
Well, I mean, like I've used the, I don't remember the exact name, but it's an injectable under your skin for a few years. And depending on your body chemistry, you may not have any menstruation during that period while you have it under your skin. So for 3 years, I didn't have to deal with that. It was great.
Is your partner a weak, weedy little effeminate man?
He's right there. So
nobody.
Don't tell him I said that.
So.
He's a very good-looking, strong man, in my opinion. So I might be biased.
I'm surprised he didn't turn around again.
I'm sorry, but Adam didn't feel. No, but that's interesting. The whole I don't know.
How did we get onto that?
I don't
Oh,
know.
we're talking about testosterone, weren't we? That's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
Hormones and the rest
But
of it.
your point about testosterone is really interesting because, yeah, we do have more aggressive women, and we don't have, in general, our society is being, made androgynous, and so it, I wonder hormones in the food and all the stuff, every conspiracy theory that we hear about. I wonder.
Sorry, I'm just sitting here like they're turning the flipping frogs gay.
Well, I mean, there's a good possibility that between I don't know if we know what kind of medication she was taking beyond the testosterone,
Right.
but
Mhm.
there
Yeah,
is a really strong
She was
connection
taking
between these
testosterone.
mass shootings and SSRIs. So between that and depression medication, you don't know what might.
Mhm.
And honestly, considering that she's trans, there was a good chance that they were on depression medications.
Interesting.
And speaking of trans, how did you all feel about Posey Parker in New Zealand?
I thought that was quite a wild thing. That okay, so here we are in America, and the sort of view of Commonwealth countries that they're so nicey nice. Like Canada, it's the nicest place. New Zealand, nice little New Zealand. They wouldn't hurt anybody. And then you see the protests, and they're whipping cans of soup. Or like in England, where they milkshake people, and there could be anything in there.
Why did they have cans of soup? Why did they literally have cans of soup?
Well, the woman that did it, the woman that threw the can of soup, said the reason she did it was because she wanted to see her full of blood.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
So
sure.
she wanted to have that visual
Was that
of
one
her
an
being
actual woman or a trans woman?
Not sure. Not sure.
Because when it comes to this kind of stuff, I've slowly reached the conclusion that the type of people involved in attacking Posey Parker are mostly abusive
Men.
males who have found a way to be allowed to abuse women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's quite ironic, isn't it, that she's there literally saying let women speak, and all of those people, 2,000 people or whatever they were trying to stop a woman speaking.
Well,
that is
amusingly,
what they
if
were
really
doing.
believe they are women, wouldn't that qualify for them?
Well, in the comments, they said it was an actual woman, not a pretend one.
That's depressing.
It was, yeah.
But it's crazy to me that, okay, so the whole point of feminism is like equal rights women and stuff. And so now that we've got that, they're putting men out there as women. And now us women cannot have our rights anymore. We have to let these men pretending to, in women face, that's what I've seen people calling it. And it's absolutely accurate. Now they've got their woman face on and we have to accept them. And it's just the most insane thing I have ever come across. And I cannot believe that all these women who are like, oh, we need equal pay and we need to be able to get jobs out the house. And now they're like, oh, no, let these women speak. Like, this doesn't compute. It doesn't, these two things don't go together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen the James Lindsay posts, but all about women plus better than
Oh, God.
women every
Yeah.
way. That women need to be quiet and let the women plus speak because they really know.
I fell for that. I thought it was real, and I shared it like really angrily, and then someone said it's a joke, Neil.
I actually,
it's like, oh shit.
before James Lindsay started posting them, another place had posted it, and it's actually from a website called POX.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it
That was the
looks
one.
like the Vox
That was the
symbol.
one. Yeah.
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 So it was funny to see people out there believing it and not looking a little closer at the.
That was me. That was me.
But it's true, though. All of a sudden,
It is true, isn't it? Really?
It's coming
allow
true.
these men who have, put on some makeup and a skirt. That's one thing I've noticed about trans men. Dude, they always have skirts on. Or trans women, I'm sorry. They always have a skirt on. Dude, I can't tell you the last time I wore a skirt that wasn't a funeral or a wedding.
Don't wear a skirt when it's really hot out.
Okay. No, so I used to wear skirts more often than I did now, like almost consistently. And the amount of jobs that would be like, no, you can't do that. And then you walk into somewhere else. It's like, hey, that person is. Why are you letting them? It's like you wouldn't let me, a woman, wear a skirt because you'd be like, I don't know, man, safety concerns for this job. And be like, really, there's no safety concerns, but fine, whatever, it's a uniform. And then, someone else would be like, okay, fine, that guy can wear a skirt and work for Walmart. Like, oh, well, I guess it's okay now.
Yeah.
But
No, but speaking of the whole woman face thing, I fell into a rabbit hole yesterday. In our group that we're in, her name is Daisy. Did you see that link, Anne or Neil, that in our group? Her name is Daisy Cousins, and she is like a 50s looking woman. And
Yeah,
I fell into
apparently.
watching her videos on YouTube. She was talking about the men having periods, having cramps, and they were talking about how they get to have you guys don't have the market on periods because we get these hormones and then we blow and then it's cramping of the soft tissue and blah blah blah, and just because there's no blood doesn't mean it's not a period. If you look up period, it literally says the shedding.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
sorry, Neil, but Neil's like,
No,
oh god.
okay, so
No.
I saw this thing the other day, and it was a actual company sit through the training video thing where they had about menopause, and
I saw that.
everybody had to sit through this, women, men, everyone, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Again, Neil, I apologize. Not to be a woman here, but it's like, yeah, you want to sit in a room and talk about your woman issues? I'm like, no, I would rather die. I would rather die than be that embarrassed in a room entirely of my coworkers and talk about private women things. Okay.
There is no reason my workplace should be educating me on a function of my body.
Right.
Well, the menopause thing, though, I don't know whether it's the same over there, but there's definitely some big push about it at the moment because all of our soaps in the UK, they've all got a storyline involving some woman going through the menopause in some, horrible way. There's been loads of things where I think there's a campaign at the moment to give women menopause leave. So if you're going through the menopause, you get paid time off work.
I mean, I had my surgery a couple of years ago, but can I get some? Like, how does this work? Who decides? I don't.
Well, maybe. I mean, the thing is, maybe the trans women need to get it as well. Because obviously, they've obviously had their menopause because they can't have babies.
Well,
Menopause, yeah.
like
I
there
don't.
was,
But why do they have to have a thing about it? I don't understand the training. What's the point?
well, it's
Because
like,
out of all the stuff that happens to women, that's the thing that they're educating people on.
Well, I could understand them, so people are a little bit more, maybe a little sensitive to women at work who are going through it. I don't know, like saying they're having hot sweats and, they've got sweaty armpits and people are looking at them weird.
Okay, at work, the entire conversation should be this. Person 1 to person 2. Hey, what's up with Deborah? Don't worry. She's going through menopause. Oh, I get it. You're done in that little to the side conversation.
Poor Deborah.
Poor Deborah.
She's having a rough day.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of scary how many people don't understand what menopause is and how it affects the body, even women. But in the end, it's not the place of a workplace to be teaching people about that.
Having 3 very close friends who have literally just gone through their menopause, I kind of know quite a bit by now. Because if we all go out together, that's all they talk about.
And you're like, guys.
So I shouldn't apologize. Neil's like, oh, this is nothing new. I do this all the time.
And I get it more in depth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some
yes.
women have been known to get homicidal during hot flashes. That is possible.
Wow.
I mean, some women have been known to get homicidal during their period, so I'm not sure how that's different.
I know. But I mean, like, there's some stupid stuff I've seen. Like, some dude was trying to say that a woman, if she's working properly, should only get like 4 periods a year, or
Oh my God.
a period every 4 years or something like that. And I'm like, this is not how this works. Like,
I actually
wish
saw
that
one
was
where
just
they
men.
said a woman should only have a period once every 4 years. I saw a video.
yeah, that's the
And
one. Yeah,
Is that the one?
Okay,
Yeah.
talk about actual medical disinformation. Like, what?
There are people out there who try to sell this idea that if your diet is clean, you don't bleed during your period. What they're saying, what
know
literally what they're doing is advertising a diet that is so nutritionally devoid that your
Yes.
body can't function.
Yeah,
Yes.
because you have to have a certain amount of body fat, don't you, to be able to
The
The
menstruate?
body
yeah,
fat you have to
yeah.
have, you know, your nutrition has to be balanced. That's why being too overweight is equally bad, because your body can't do what it's supposed to do because there's too much fat in the way.
yeah, no, it's if you're not getting one, because of your diet, there's something wrong with your diet. Like that's an issue. But
Well, surely the menstrual cycle is proof that your anatomy's working.
It
well.
is to some degree,
Well,
depending on
for
assuming it
some
goes
women, it's
correctly.
proof that it's also not working. Like,
Well,
you know, some
yeah.
people get it too much, too often.
If it's doing what it's supposed to do, then
Yeah,
you know it's
yeah.
working.
If you're
But-
having an average menstrual cycle, then yes, your body's doing what it's supposed to do. But there's, I mean, it's one of those fun, complicated pieces of womanhood.
But
Yeah.
but trans men can also have a period. So
Well, you know what they do, though, don't you? What some trans women do.
no.
Are you ready for this?
Do I have to know?
I know. Now you
They
do.
freeze tomato ketchup into like popsicle
Cylinders.
stick things or whatever you call them. I don't know what you guys call it over there. So that it's frozen. They put it in a condom and then they shove it in an orifice. And so as it melts, it kind of comes out and they can pretend they're having a period.
Okay.
Why do I even know this?
I don't know. But
'Cause you're on
that
Twitter.
statement right there, Neil, proves that this is a mental illness.
Yeah.
If you are so desperate to have a period, which most women, if you ask them, is going to tell you it sucks and they hate it and they wish they didn't, and you know,
Literal pain, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, headaches, bloating, crying. God, I used to cry so
Sorry,
much more
Nancy.
than I do now. Like,
It's like,
not
why
like
do
a
I hate
super awesome
everything and I
thing.
want to die? Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Well, I'm good. I'm good.
And you know about the butt babies, don't you?
Yes, I saw those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Horror, do you know about those too?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen those on
checking.
Twitter.
Yeah, if you don't know, look it up. I don't know whether we should talk about that one. But
I think I posted something about it on Instagram actually. So.
And again, my eyes. What I don't want to know. I don't. There's a lot of things. In fact, I'd be very, very happy
one of the
Overly
funniest things,
of forever.
the funniest thing about the butt baby thing is that I read an article about it, and the person said that the most shocking thing about it was that they cost $299. And it's like, that's the most shocking thing about it? Really?
You see, my immediate thought is if you're really trying to get the experience of having a child, why isn't it way more expensive?
Yeah, for life. Taking your money for life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. And they're about 7 times the size of the ones that they sell. Mine, came out this long and 9 pounds. So it's like,
Oh, poor Nancy. Have you seen what she's put there? That's so sweet.
Book baby.
See, I'm living in Nancy's world. Let's say
Yeah.
this is a nice place.
Nancy's
Oh,
world
and
does seem
also,
much nicer.
Two sisters and some yarn said hi. So,
who did?
Ah, hello.
Amy.
Oh, yeah.
Sisters and some
Oh,
yarn.
Yep,
Little-
yep.
And hello to everyone else. I see people have said hello in the chat, but
Yeah.
I never know whether to acknowledge it or not. So hello back, everyone.
It's always back
Yeah.
and forth. Hello, people. We are reading your comments. And
Yes,
sorry, I
yes, we were just
back
on a
and forth
horrible
between
tangent.
stopping your own conversation, saying hi to everyone. But
I don't think we should talk about that one. Yeah, so.
Oh,
Well,
so Posey Parker, she's back in the UK now. So Kelly J. Keane, and she did an interview, an audio interview, which I shared on my Instagram, and I can't remember who it was with now. So sorry, everyone. It is
I
really
know
good
she
to
did
listen to it.
Lotus Eaters. Is that
Um,
the one, or is that a different one?
I think it's a different one. It was the name of a guy rather than the Lotus Eaters. So I
Okay.
don't know. I might be wrong, though. I might be wrong. But yeah, it was really interesting to hear what she said, because I think she genuinely thought she might die.
Yeah,
You know?
I heard right after the incident, she said something that like they were trying to force her to the ground, and she felt that if she had gotten on the ground, that would have been it. She
Yeah.
would have been done. They would have kicked her till they couldn't. And
Yeah. Hi, Liz. Yeah. Liz just said, if I can mention butt babies, I can say hi. So yeah, hi.
You know what makes me
Sounds
laugh
fair.
though? Everything that he says sounds so much nicer than when we say it.
Really?
It's the accent.
Yeah.
You can literally say anything. It sounds all fancy.
Yeah.
not
And
to
he
other
doesn't have a
Brits.
fancy accent. That's what he says.
well, okay, I'm sure I've told this story before, but about 6 years ago, I visited New Zealand. It was a grand old time, and thinking about it, with Posey Parker being there and getting beat up and everything. But I remember I'm there. I get picked up from the airport with the people I knew. We went to this little gas station diner thing, and and after talking with them, the first thing I hear is a mother just yell and just berate her kid for something in a New Zealand accent, and I'm like, wow, I ain't never heard that before. This is quite interesting.
Is it like music to your ears?
Well, it wasn't quite that because she was a bit harsh, but you're like, wow, I've never heard this specific conversation. I mean, that you can hear anywhere with a mom yelling at her kid, but I've never heard exactly this tone before. It's quite interesting. And
It's just
then,
because it's different, though, isn't it? Because I think a lot of you guys, I listen to you, and I think you sound really well spoken, and what's the word? You enunciate better than I do. Whereas I know I've got a really common, rough English accent. And other English people would be like, ooh, like, ooh, he's from the wrong side of the country. Adam in the comments, he can confirm that. He knows.
Apparently his is neutral now. I didn't know that happened.
Well, I'll tell you who, do you ever watch, what were they called? What were they called? The two ladies in Canada, they had the shop called Tricate or something. They do a podcast, and then they sold it to two of the staff that work there, and I can't remember the names now. Very famous. They do free knitting patterns, and they're usually pretty good.
okay.
No, not ring a bell. No. Well, now one of the women that took over, she's British, and I know what they mean by this neutral English accent, because she's taken on quite a lot of the Canadianisms, which sound American to me, but it's like little things that really jar as an English person. When an English person says the word book, as they know it costs $10.
Oh.
It's like, what? Really? What? And there's always like the D and the S thing. Is it the D and the S? Like water instead of water.
Oh, yeah.
You pronounce a D more instead of a T. That's it. E-space trico. I don't know how you say it. E-space trico. I don't know.
I don't know.
We should look up. They have some really good free patterns. They really do.
Okay.
A few of them are quite famous now, so I think everybody was knitting them at one point. Not me, obviously, because it's 10 bucks. 10 bucks.
What?
Well, the fun thing is depending on where you are in the U.S. will really change how someone says things. So
that is true.
Well, I learned something interesting off Amy from I think it was Amy from Two Sisters, who sent me this thing of like the origin of a lot of the American accents, and where she lives, which I can't remember the area. You guys know where it is, but it's somewhere in the south.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Yeah, that if you, I think it was if you slow down or speed up her accent, it's actually a British accent. It's an English accent that has stayed the same since when we obviously came over to America. And when you hear it, when they point it out, it's spot on. It's like, oh God, yeah. So it's like they've retained the English, but somehow there's a little bit of a twist in it. Whereas New York is definitely Irish influenced. There's definitely an Irish sound to that.
Are you talking about New York City?
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
like New York.
'Cause I was
I would have
gonna say, I
anticipated
don't.
Louisiana being more French than.
Yeah.
Well, there's apparently in
English.
Louisiana,
It's
I think there's definite sides to the city that have different accents, I think.
Oh,
I
okay.
think. So there is a French side. So you're right, there is a French side, and they do speak differently to the others.
Right. I mean, like where I am at, upper Midwest, you have a lot of influence of the accent, that you have Germans and you have Dutch and North Dakota especially, a lot of Finnish, and that really comes through in the North Dakotan accent. But you can kind of tell after a while the difference, that there's a difference from South Dakota and North Dakota and Minnesota, and Wisconsin is very distinct from them all. And everyone else is like, oh well, whatever. Like, no,
I can
we're
only hear
different,
the
I promise.
extremes.
Yeah.
You know, like the far south, the New York, the LA side. You know, I can't tell anything in the middle. I just can't hear it.
Oh, when you hear a true Wisconsin, you don't forget.
Oh yeah, no, that's a definite specific act. That's an extreme accent of its own.
Right.
Can you do that one for me?
No.
What
Oh.
serial killer? Sorry, I actually spent a lot of summers in Wisconsin, so I like to make fun of them. But
That's not where that film, and then they did say, oh, sorry, my memory's atrocious. Oh, what's it called? Fargo. That's not where
Fargo's
Fargo was.
Minnesota, and
well,
North
it's
Dakota,
on the border between Moorhead, Fargo.
Because some of the accents in that were very distinctive to me. You know, like I'd never heard that accent before. So is that kind of the accent that you're talking about?
Ish.
Yes. I mean, I haven't seen the show, but there is distinct North Dakotan accent. Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of like oop instead of like open the door kind of thing. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't think of a good example. Another example, really.
I'm trying to think of good ones, but no, I mean they do have a very specific kind of
Is this it?
Midwest.
Oh,
Excuse me.
Oop.
I don't know.
But
what does that
a lot
mean?
of Polish accent in that, or Polish. Kind of.
A lot of Polish in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh accent is very, different from Philadelphia. Anyways, more. Sorry, no language lesson for today. What are we doing?
Certainly random, this one, isn't it? We're going all over the place.
But
I have a bit of British news about the the thing that goes in the arm.
Yes.
I don't know whether we're even allowed to say the word.
Okay. I say go for it. I always
are you sure? So that sharp thing that was to do with the coof.
The pokey poke.
Yeah, so they had the pharmaceutical companies had indemnity or whatever they call it, where they're not allowed to be sued for anything. Well, what's happening at the moment is 4,000 British people are currently suing, and it's on a loophole in the law that they're suing on the basis that the product was faulty. So they're doing it through consumer law. And the AZ one, the one that has AZ in the name, has been completely withdrawn, and it's that one that they're suing. So the others aren't being sued for anything. The problem with it, though, is that if they win, the money that they're going to get is going to come from our NHS fund, not from the pharmaceuticals. So it means that they'll be taking money from the people, and that could break our NHS system.
Why wouldn't the people be responsible for it if it's their faulty product?
Because the governments, all our governments, have given them immunity, so they can't be sued. They're not liable for anything that happens.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Let's see. My notebook in which I have these things is on the other side of the room. But wasn't that part of the Andrew Bridgen thing, the speech that was pulled from YouTube? Gave that it was it overall 1 in 800 people have some sort of
serious I think
they
had different they had different categories. So I think 1 in 900 and something had a serious reaction in some way. That when serious, it means serious. We're not talking about, having a headache or something like that. Things like strokes and heart attacks and so on. But the 1 in 800 and whatever it was, I don't know what that one was. I don't know, but he did say that.
I think that was for all of them, but he had specific numbers on different shots.
Right. That'll be it. Right. Yeah, so it's
I mean,
quite bad. If you think even 1 in 1,000 is bad, and they're still keeping it quiet. And what happened? I don't know if you know about the thing that happened in Parliament. It was absolutely disgusting. And when they're debating whether they get a pay rise, every single politician in the country is there in the House to be there.
Yep.
They were debating the lives of people and whether this jab is killing people, and no one was there, and the ones that were there were told to leave.
Yeah, they hushed them out.
Yeah, it's absolutely infuriating. It's but also now, I don't know if you've heard, our first, I say our, it's nothing to do with the English, but the Scottish First Minister is now a Muslim. So we have a Indian Prime Minister, a Muslim First Minister in Scotland, and a Muslim London Mayor, and they are the 3 most powerful people in the country, and it's just bizarre.
Congrats,
it doesn't
on your
represent. But our country isn't that diverse. It's far less diverse than they would have people believe.
Yeah. It's kind of weird when you're like, I wonder if like an English person could be Prime Minister of England. Oh, well.
But what was interesting is with this, he's called Hamza, isn't it? Is it Yusuf Hamza, his name? I've forgotten his name. And the woman that was his main opposition, what they went for her about was that she was a Christian. And so they went for basically saying, oh, well, you don't like the LGBT community, blah, 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 you're a Christian. But then voted for the Muslim, who also doesn't like the LGBT community. And it's like, what? Why? How did you make that differentiation? Both of them say that they didn't have, neither of them said they have a problem with it, but both of their religions have rules within them about it. It's like one's okay, one isn't. I don't know.
Well, they don't care about that. Like that in Muslim countries, they don't like, LGBT people. They don't care that like in Uganda, they just said that if you even say you're gay, that you can be killed or imprisoned or whatever. Like that stuff doesn't matter.
Sorry.
And I don't know.
Yeah, the Ugandan thing's really interesting because I have not seen any lefty make any noise about that at all. And that is actually bad. It's not like the old law that they all moan about, the British, where they made sodomy illegal. It wasn't being gay that was ever illegal. You could be as gay as you wanted to be, as long as you weren't caught having, or committing the act. Whereas in Uganda, it's just existing is what they're putting people in prison for life.
Yeah.
I heard that the U.S. had actually threatened the Ugandan government in some way.
Oh, did they?
Removing
They may have, but my point is that, we've got all these countries that are so worried about it. England's so worried about it. We're so worried about it. But like, in Iran, I don't know, maybe it's changed, but there are certain countries out there that they on purpose are like, no, we hate you guys. We're going to throw you off of buildings and shit. But no, we're not gonna, but we just want to, never mind.
Well, it makes me laugh out.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Go on, Anne.
About to say it was like the World Cup soccer in Qatar that everybody shut up really fast about gay rights when it came to World Cup soccer.
Yep.
There were actually a couple people who were protesting it, and they got in trouble and everything, but still, that everyone else, it's like, yay, wear your pride jersey, except here.
Yeah.
We're gonna be quiet for a bit.
And that's the thing. Why do they respect or whatever? Maybe it's not respect, but you know, they didn't push it there. But
It's a
everyone
form of
else,
racism. I do believe it's racism because I think people who can ignore that think that those people in those countries are somehow not as enlightened as the
Mhm.
rest of us, or evolved, as you said. Yeah, they're not quite as intelligent, and therefore we have to make allowances for them, which we don't think like that. We think, no, everyone's judged on the same.
right?
Just
You
for
like,
some that
yeah,
comment.
yeah. Thanks for stepping in, Nancy. Have fun doing whatever that is. Oh yeah, and then this is what we got going on. The guys who are Christians can't play because
It's-
they won't wear the pride jerseys. Like, what is that?
yeah, that's ridiculous.
And well, okay, so Neil, like you said, that it's a racism thing that you won't have the same expectations of behavior. But from the other hand, it's also like who, who will back up what they say with violence. And
Mhm.
even if what they say may be horrible, it's like, well, but you don't want to mess with that. That is a huge
Yeah.
problem too.
That's why in the UK, when there's loads of trouble with the Muslim community and the Hindu community, for example, the police don't want to do anything because they know that they're going to riot, and they would rather just walk away from it and, not do anything about it. We had in one of the cities here, there was a riot going on for over a month between Hindus and Muslims, and it wasn't even on the mainstream news until the last 3 days of it. But it had been already been going on for a month. And the way that if it had been a white group against any of those other groups, it would have been front page, and everyone would have been on it. But they just didn't want to know.
It's a tragic thing.
Because they don't want to talk about anything that doesn't fit the agenda. What do you think happened yesterday? They were talking about the shooter. Shooter's trans. I have barely heard anything about it
Well,
since then.
and also
Like,
I've heard lots of things that it's like somebody's got to do something about these guns. And it's like, okay, so England has huge problems with stabbings. Sweden has huge problems with bombings. That maybe the issue isn't that it's a gun issue, that murder happens in every country and how the murder expresses itself may be different.
Yeah. In my city here, I mean, there was somebody, I think I told you when it happened, but there was somebody stabbed, murdered sort of over the road there's a park opposite me. We've had 43 stabbings in this city alone, which is unheard of here, Oh, we lost Horror.
Oh, she said
Oh,
she'll be
no.
yeah, she just
Ah,
step
right.
out. But it's like the BLM protests we had here. It's mostly peaceful. You get the January 6th where nobody even lit anything on fire, but here we are. It's the biggest insurrection that's ever
Well,
happened.
and same with the New Zealand thing with Posey Parker, is they were trying to say it was like a day out and she was scared by people enjoying themselves. It's like, no, watch the videos. In fact, I think there were people calling for the media to not show any of the footage of what actually happened because they wanted everyone to think that it was peaceful and lovely and like a
Because you
picnic.
can't control the narrative. If the video's out, then you can't tell people what you want to tell them. It's
Yeah.
Right. And also, I mean, definitely, with the video out and people need to see what's going on. But also, it's so crazy that sometimes you forget about it. But the fact that members of our media and government, that there was weird things with Homeland Security against MAGA Christians or any other delineations of those groups, that there are actual like PSAs about you. And Biden himself trots out all the time like those extreme MAGA Republicans who foment violence. And it's like you're the media and government are actually, like speaking out and targeting a specific group of law-abiding, non-violent citizens. That's bizarre. That is really weird. And with Posey Parker going out there and talking about woman only spaces, and that no, you can't just say you're a woman. Live how you like, but there are women's rights still is a huge thing.
Just before I started to get ready to come on here, Annie from A Stitch in the Sky, who I did an interview with recently, she's from the UK, sort of a couple of hours up the road.
Yeah, I saw your interview. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, she's funny as well. You should watch her video. She's actually quite funny. She sent me a link, and it was a story about this woman who had beaten up her girlfriend. And I was reading the story, and I was thinking, why has Annie sent me this? You know when someone sends you something, because I get a lot of things sent to me, and I was thinking, I'm not quite sure what this point is. And all the way through is what this Jade, the woman, was called, what she had done, and how violent she'd been, and blah blah blah. And it went all the way down, and then I saw the picture of Jade, and it was the most masculine, thingy-jawed man you've ever seen, with like long blonde hair, and it was just like, now I understand. So now the question is, he was sentenced to quite a few years in prison for, he must have been what he did to his girlfriend must have been pretty bad. So now I want to know what prison he's going to. Is he going to the women's prison, or is he going to the man's prison? Because I bet it's the women's.
Mm-hmm. Right. And okay, sorry, this reminds me of one of my favorite, most terrible jokes, so I'm going to pre-apologize for this. But before the trans thing really became more of a wider thing, when you looked at domestic abuse statistics, you'd find that that relationships where it's a man and a woman, that's kind of the baseline. And then if it's two men, there's less domestic abuse. You can hypothetically, because two men are stronger and they can kind of keep each other in line. If one guy goes to punch the other guy is much less likely to take it. But domestic abuse cases in which there are two women are much higher, which obviously means that the woman had it coming. So
that just reminds me, years ago, sorry, I've got to tell you this story. I may have said it to you before, I don't know. But I was in my 20s, very early 20s, so we're talking a long time ago. And we went to a seaside resort in the UK called Blackpool. Adam knows about Blackpool. And it's a really cheesy, it's such a dreadful place, but it's also so bad it's great, one of those places. So it was quite late at night, about 2:00 in the morning. We were all drunk, staggering down the main seafront, and there were two lesbians in the road, and one of them was smacking the other one's head into the pavement. But I mean, it's funny and it's not funny at the same time. But what she was shouting was, "It's because I love you!" Like that. Is that how you show your love?
Yeah, no. Well, that's okay. And again, this is, you can confirm or deny this, but women, when they fight, that there is, when guys fight, there's like layers of escalation, like, the sort of rough play thing where, like, okay, I'm going to shove you this much. And then if one person shoves more, they're like, okay, it's escalating now. And women don't have that when they fight so much. They tend to go more straight to vicious. that the layers of escalation may be in talking, but if it actually comes to physical violence, it goes faster down.
Well, my theory on that is, and it links back to what we were saying about the shooter, actually, is that if you come from a two-parent family, so you've got a father and you're a boy, when I was saying before about when your hormones kick in and you get violent and you're being, you're very aggressive, it's the father that steps in, and it's only the father that the teenage boy will even remotely listen to, because the threat is there that the father is going to kick your ass. You know that your mother isn't going to be able to do, well, some mothers probably could, but not all mothers are going to have that capacity or even be willing to do that. So when you come from a broken home, the boys in those broken homes don't necessarily have that lesson that you learn, that there's somebody who's bigger and stronger who will put you in your place. So that's why a lot of them are always in getting themselves into fights and getting into trouble with other men because they don't know how to control themselves around other men. Because it's not something that you could write down and write in a book, but there's definitely an etiquette around other men, because at any point, if you're having a conversation with a man, you could end up in a fight. You say the wrong thing, you could end up in a fight. So men tend to use humor more, which is how they get around each other. It's not that conscious. I'm not saying we sit there thinking, oh, how am I going to, be friends with that? It's just kind of what we do. And with these people that are going through hormone replacement, or not replacement, but hormone therapy with testosterone, they've never had that. They do not know how to behave around other men, or how even around women as a man. So this is why there's a lot of that going on. So I think with women, like you say, women just go from 0 to 100 in terms of the viciousness. I think that's part of it.
A lot of how women fight are verbal and reputational. So it's much more of it is that way, and much less of it is physical violence. So that once it gets to physical violence, there's not really delineations in that so much as when you're talking.
Well, when you're a weaker force and you have to go to absolute violence, then you have to go all out in one burst, as opposed to gradually increasing, because you're probably not going to intimidate your opponent down through a gradual increasing physical threat, whereas you kind of have to shoot to kill at that point.
Yeah, you have to go if you're going to win because you're vicious.
I'm not going to argue with any of you three then.
Like women.
I mean, you can argue, just don't push us to the point we have to be physically violent. There's a difference.
I'm safe over this side of the world. I'll stay here.
I know. I still remember. Okay, and these are two very different Jordan Peterson things, but reading the Jordan Peterson book list, and it was all these flippin' Russian authors. And I'm like, oh, this is so depressing. And then later he had this interview and he was all like, there's not really a lot of psychological data about, what was it? It was high ambition females and how they behave with each other, and that there isn't a lot of psychological thing. I'm like, I don't know, Jordan, not to diss you or anything, but maybe if you put on some Little Women or some Anne of Green Gables on your book list, accept all of this death and misery, maybe the whole female psychology would have been a little more open to you. A little sensibility would have helped you out.
Yeah.
He's clearly never worked in an office of women.
Right. A couple of the quiet, like, social dramas where it's not like, oh, big adventure. It's, oh yeah, you're going to do that to me? We're going to play that game. Even in the, what you might consider to be more of a younger female audience in those books are all about that it's very much a delicate learning of etiquette, learning behavior. I don't know, it's weird. And even to kind of flip back to the sort of trans thing, that I heard something the other day. It was talking about high schools now, and how there's a lot of high schools that have gone full furry, but they've not just gone full furry, they've gone full bulimic. And it's the teenage girls keeping the other teenage girls in line to keep them, quote, accountable with their bulimia. And it's like, yeah, because it is an etiquette and a behavior. And we would see that like, oh, that's a twisted and dangerous etiquette and behavior. But it is very much how female, quote, dominance hierarchies work. Mm-hmm. Like it's a whole different ball game, how men work around men and how women work around women, and then how they interact with each other is, I mean, not all the books in the world could be filled with it.
I think when women, I mean, I know you said about the violence earlier, but generally women will destroy each other emotionally and, like you said, with reputations and whatever. Whereas men, but with men, it's going to be fast, quick, and it could be death. You could be killed or you could be seriously hurt. So maybe that's why there's a difference.
But guys can fight it out and be friends much easier than women can. Not that women can't, but it's much rarer.
Yeah.
So can we go back for a second? What's this bulimia thing we were talking about? I haven't heard this.
Bulimics and furries. Where do the furries come in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like the edge of someone's personal stories. It wasn't like a news article or something.
Okay.
But it was very like, yeah, that this is run rampant. And I mean, they used to say this about bulimia and anorexia in the 90s, that they called it like a social contagion because somebody had an article in the paper saying, oh, anorexia is on the line or is on the rise. And people would hear that or look at their daughters and be like, are you anorexic? And the daughters would be like, no, but maybe I should be. Like, that it would sort of like the idea would take hold. And I think it was the same thing with cutting, but I'm not sure that the idea is there, that you're kind of attracted to it, not so much that you were going to go in that direction already.
Yes, I agree, Adam. Absolutely. Have you seen Adam's comment there?
The brony one, or that you're marginalized?
That you're marginalized.
That I'm marginalized.
I'm sorry, Neil.
He's a man. He can't be marginalized.
Oh no,
That's not my fault. That's just the rules.
But he's a black trans woman.
Oh yeah,
So-
I forgot. Oh yeah.
So he can be marginalized.
Oh, okay.
Adam
Okay,
is
sorry.
That's how he
throughout.
identifies.
I
Oh,
apologize
I need
for
to
both
get my
misgendering
ketchup.
and misracing you.
Your ketchup, dude, Neil. That's so gross. God.
Yeah, next time I'm gonna have some frozen ketchup to show you.
Oh,
No, I'm not.
Please don't.
Not if you want
I
to be
won't.
invited
I'm
back.
not showing
okay?
up to that show. I'm just letting you know I'm not going to be here for that one.
Yeah, neither am I. So it's okay.
It'll just be Neil like, hey guys, where are you going? So
Neil,
let me
you
go
have your
out.
own channel. You can do that on your own time. Okay. Thank you.
But just don't expect your viewership to be very high. I'm just like, except for people showing up like,
Oh, speaking of viewers, there's two people I need to say hi to. So first of all is a non-friend, I'll put it that way, who I know is called Carol. I just want to say, hi, Carol. I know who you are. And the other one is Edna. Hi, Edna. Edna
Oh, Edna's
Wellthorpe.
here?
Yeah. I don't know whether Edna's here at the moment, but Edna will be here later, no doubt. And people won't understand this, but you're no Joe Orton, Edna. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
DK knows a little bit more about that.
I do know some. I don't know.
It
all
kind
of
of makes sense.
Emily was talking about the whole men and women thing, and we do hold grudges way longer. Like, I know I'm not a regular chick because, like, I will totally get mad and
like
I'm over
regular
it.
I
You
go
hold
back
grudges,
and
Dan?
forth. My family is very, very, very good at holding grudges. So if I'm going to hold a grudge, you're probably going to die with me hating you. But I try very hard to fight that part of my genetics.
Yeah, no, I get mad and then I get over it because I have too much other stuff I got to do during the day. I can't hold on to that energy. I don't have time.
Oh, what Iris has put there is interesting. It's always women that say this. They always, I would rather have a male boss over a female any day. But it's never. You very rarely hear men say that.
Mm.
I mean, there are men that do say that, but
So I worked as a bank teller for many years, and that was one of the worst jobs I've ever had because it was entirely women, and it was so catty and it was so like backstabby, and it was the worst job ever. I would rather go work with a bunch of dudes because they don't care. If I'm doing my work, they don't care. They don't care about what I wear or I talk about my family, or they just don't care. Women.
Well, men can be funny though, because the thing about men is that they can be as catty as women, but they say it to your face, and it's usually funny. So you kind of either have to laugh or cry. You've kind of got to laugh it off, because the things that women say about other women behind their back, men do say the same things about each other and other women as well, but they just say it to you.
Mhm.
I don't know what's better, really.
Yeah, no, Selfish Knitter said working with men is so much less drama. It really is.
or at
No,
least
but-
less drama for a woman to work with men.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
Neil, you can have your own.
when I worked at the bank, I would come home crying because they were just terrible. And finally, I was talking to my stepdad one day, and he goes, "So, are you the youngest person there?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you skinnier and prettier than they are?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess." And he's like, "That's why they hate you. So just get over it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, thanks. Thanks for the pep talk."
I mean, I've worked in one or two workplaces where I've had a really awesome female boss. But then I've also worked in workplaces where, you add just the wrong just the wrong woman, and all of a sudden it all goes downhill real fast.
Yep, it does. It's bad.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I've said it before, but to kind of bring it back to Knitting Wars, the title of the show, that's like how much of the cancellations have been because somebody was successful and somebody else wasn't, and they couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
So basically, if I wasn't here, you three would be at each other's throats now, wouldn't you? I am obviously the factor that keeps this part of the knitting world
Exactly.
safe.
It keeps everything.
Yes, Neil. Without you, we would it would be a bloodbath.
All the time.
no.
It's
I mean,
like,
Anna and I get along just fine without you every week, so I think we're all right. But
But do you? Do
I
you
get along
really?
without you. Well,
I think as soon as you stop the live, I think you two are like.
I don't think we've ever had a disagreement. I mean, we disagree on things, but never like an actual like fight. We're angry at each other, right?
I feel like I need to knock on wood, but no, we've been pretty good.
I got some.
Well, to be fair though, I'm going to contradict what I just said there. I think I've noticed. I know, like we're in a group, aren't we? In a Telegram group, and I've noticed that people definitely on our side of all of the nonsense, we definitely deal with our disagreements in a much more healthy way than I've seen on the other side. And I have seen some disagreements in our groups. It's not like it doesn't happen, but it's definitely more mature.
Right.
So I don't know why that is. I don't know. Again, it's because I'm
the
there.
word mature.
Well, and I also think that there's a level of entitlement on the other side too, where if you go around thinking that you deserve certain things, if you don't get them or somebody doesn't agree with you, you're going to get way more bent out of shape than if you are a person living in reality where you know that not everything's going to go your way. Like Ann and I, we have a successful business because we can talk to each other about what we're going to do. We're not like trying to one up each other, or like she doesn't like think that it's a whole mindset is my guess, and that's what the difference is, not just maturity, but that when you don't expect to be handed certain things, then you can deal with other people better.
Right. And I'd also say that one of the funny things about DK and I being together is that we're both the kind of person that we're like, yeah, we're going to work on it. We're going to get on that immediately. And then we're like, but what if we don't though? Like, that's right.
I was just thinking, really? Do I know you two?
6 months?
Yeah. No, that it's very much like, so whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I meant to get it done. I will. And she's like, I haven't done my thing either. I'm like, okay, we're good.
Well, do you remember, was it last time we spoke and DK said, oh, I'm going to get on it and I'm going to write that article that I've been promising you for over a year. I'm going to do it this weekend. I'm going to do it.
Hi, it's me.
It's a good job I know you.
You know what, Neil? I really, really am trying. I told Ann today.
No, I'm joking. It doesn't matter.
Today was one of them days. The whole world was on me. You guys have at least raised my spirits. Earlier, it's been so dreary and rainy here, man. I just wanted to stay in bed. But hey, one of these days, I will write your article. It's been working in my head for a year.
I'll be dead by then.
When she writes it, it'll be amazing because she's been thinking
or
about it so
You'll have to
hard.
write my
She's like,
eulogy.
well, good thing she didn't write this sooner because she's terrible. So whatever, either way.
No, Neil, whatever you do, don't let her write your eulogy. I'm sure it will be awesome, but it'll be like a year later.
Yeah,
no,
3
actually,
generations will
really
have passed.
well under pressure. It's the fact that it's open-ended that I can just,
You heard it. You have to give her a deadline.
He has, and I haven't done
I'm
it.
rubbish at them myself, though. I miss my own
Deadline, not a
deadlines.
fake one.
Yeah, I've already missed the deadline this month because it should be going live in a couple of days, but it's going to have to wait another week. So it's going to be, I think, the 7th. But I'm glad because it would have been an April the 1st release. And I don't like releasing on April the 1st. So I think somewhere in my mind I was putting it off.
Hey, I know that you've probably got everything almost all set, but I'm going to do a knit along next monmonth or a make along. And I was hoping we could put a little in your magazine.
If you get it to me as soon as you can, and we'll put it in.
Okay. Because, hey, everybody listening who knits or makes or whatever, we're going to do April showers make along for babies. Any little happy baby thing, like a shower, like a baby shower, April showers. We're going to do baby knits next month. So,
and we could do our first foray into the item designing with some baby item designs.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I was just about to mention this because I was talking to Carol Brown this week and asking what exactly the rules are when it comes to, Rip-a-verse, copyright, and knitting world, because that's always kind of a, like a gray area when it comes to that. And I'm like, hey, could I just ask? I'm so sorry to bother you for a professional question, and she said, and I was like, okay, so if you do patterns with Rip-a-verse logos or names, is that okay? And do you only want them to be free patterns, or is it okay if they're paid for? And if I have like something completed and knitted, is there going to be a problem if I sell that? And she's like, nope, all good, just as long as you don't say it's official merch. And I'm like, yes, we're in the money.
Yes.
Eric's really open
now
about that stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've got a couple of ideas, and I know you have as well, Anne. So I need to get on that now. We need to start it, don't we?
I know, world domination. That's what
Get it on the market before the next thing comes out. I mean, they're getting close.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So it's exciting too. But yeah, Neil and I have been going back and forth with a couple of different ISOM ideas. So
that'll be cool to see. I know Eric would be really thrilled to see that kind of stuff. He loves that.
Yeah. I'm excited. And even Lynn, because I mentioned it, even Lynn was like, ooh, should I dye some yarn? I'm like, yeah, dye some yarn.
Yeah.
So cool.
And Lynn is our sponsor, Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. Just FYI, check her out if you haven't. Anybody?
Shameless plug there.
What? She's our girl. I gotta. Ann says Lynn. I have to give the chickenladyfiberarts.com. Go find her.
Exactly. Bonus promo.
No,
this is North Star, by the way.
Ooh,
he's about
pretty.
to do something.
Oh, look at him.
He's going to show us his butt, is what you're saying?
Yeah, probably. Did you hear him rubbing his face against the microphone a minute ago? I was trying to stop him, but he was purring into the microphone. What's the matter?
But yeah, I'm excited. And I mean, definitely if anyone else has some cool ideas, it is all lights are go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm excited for the next issue.
Yeah,
me too.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that they're going to try and sort out the international shipping.
Yes,
which I hope so, because I can't remember. It worked out to be twice as much, didn't it? I can't remember now.
Yeah,
they
launched a new website and they have a partnership with UPS now. So if you go on and purchase it, it actually calculates all the duties and everything, and they should have a lower shipping rate now as well when you try to buy it.
Nice.
They actually just released that yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I saw that they had the kind of update clock going on the site.
Yeah, they refreshed the website entirely. And if you're part of the Eric D. July fan club, you also get percentage off the merchandise.
Ah,
nice.
Or discounts. I shouldn't say percentage off, but you get a discount with if you go through the website, because they've connected the two now.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't know much about it, but
No, I have to, because that's the community manager over there. So,
well, I know that about you.
Like, I hear it all day, and the rest of us are like, "Woohoo! New update!" You're like, "Yes, I know."
I try not to know too much, just because I don't want to ever be one of those people who's like a leak of any kind. So he doesn't tell me anything and I don't really ask. So all I know is that things happen. And I know when they happen because then I get to hear about it all day.
Great.
That's cool.
Oh, he's showing you his butt.
At least he's not lifting his tail. No,
That's
there
because
we go.
I'm pushing it down.
One of my kids is taking this science class throughout school. It's an online learning. Teachers offer classes, and you can sign up for your kids to take them. And it's weird animal facts. And I know so much about animals' butts now and about like farts. And because a lot of the weird facts are like a scorpion can make its tail fall off. And then it also poops out its tail. So once it falls off, it has no place to poop and it will die from a poop explosion. And so this is the stuff I'm talking about in my house now all the time. And there's sea cucumbers have teeth in their butt, and
is it the sea cucumbers where there's a fish that when it's feeling scared it will swim up its backside?
The pearlfish will try to. That's why it has teeth in its butt, to try to prevent that.
Oh.
So
more you know.
So there you go. But yeah, I have a friend that they call every time they take that class so that they can tell them all the weird stuff. So.
Well, I've been doing a bit of reading up about those, I don't know what you call them. They're like funguses or fungi that affect sort of ants' brains or wasps' brains, and they can do weird things. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, have you heard what the CDC have said? I think they're setting the scene. This is just my theory for the next pandemic, which is going to be a fungus. And the reason for the fungus that's going to affect us is because climate change allegedly has made the planet warm enough that these fungus can now affect human brains. So we may well have a zombie apocalypse, and they're going to keep us in our houses again so that we don't catch the fungus.
They sure
I've
can
got
try.
a cricket bat. I'll be okay.
I've still got all my old vinyl records. I've seen Shaun of the Dead.
Prepared.
And we have knitting needles as well, don't forget.
That is true.
Yeah, Irish, just like The Last of Us. Absolutely, yeah. Because in The Last of Us, that's a mushroom, isn't it, that takes over all the heads and they turn into zombies. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to try and watch it. Is it any good? Has anyone seen it?
From what I understand,
it's good if you haven't played the game. I'll put it that way.
Is it? So if you played the game, is it like a pale imitation of the game, or
if you've played the game, it's not like terrible bad. If you've played the game, there's definitely some choices they made that don't make your purist happy, but it's a reasonable adaptation. Most of the people, however, who get pissed about it are upset mostly because of The Last of Us 2, as opposed to the adaptation because of a whole bunch of stuff that happened there.
Is The Last of Us 2 the one you were telling us about a few weeks ago, Anne? The video game that they got mad at because she was a lesbian or something?
Oh, that, like I said, no, that
wasn't it.
Oh, it was because the first game is father and adopted daughter. Again, I haven't played this. This is my brother who will just sit there and be like, I can't believe what he's still upset about Last of Us 2. And he will rant on about Last of Us 2 and how upset he is for a long time.
I understand why they're upset about Last of Us 2.
Right. So the first game that you have the father and adopted daughter, and then that they build the second game as a continuation of that story. But then they killed the father in like the first beginning part of that. But all of the advertisements that they had, and that they had flashbacks in the game, where in the game they had the flashbacks looked that the girl was younger, but in the advertisement for it that she looked older, so it looked as if there'd be more time in the game with this character that they killed off early.
Okay.
in a terrible, horrible, stupid way, that involved I'm sure you hear a lot of that. Doing things that the character wouldn't have done in the original game, and
See,
but
you and Max should get together sometimes because, like, he loves all the horror video games too. He loves Lovecraft. He loves all of that. And again, we'll
I think
talk.
I started following him on Twitter at some point. I think
Probably.
I'd have to double check.
I don't know. He's funny. He looks like a young Markiplier. He cracks me up.
He looks like what?
A young Markiplier. He's a game streamer that I only know from him. But
I'm with you, DK.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep crocheting this blanket. So talk amongst yourselves, whatever.
Hold on, they're going to talk about the nerd stuff. I'm going to be busy.
Hey, I'm almost through a skein of yarn. I should do this every time we do a live knitting wars.
And
Every
then
time we talk about Doctor Who. I said every time we talk about Doctor Who, you'll get a scarf finished.
Exactly.
Doctor Who, yeah, that'd do it.
Not my thing. Whatever. I don't remember why I asked about that game. Sorry. I think there was a point to it, but that's okay. Oh, because you were asking about the show.
Oh, he was asking about the TV show.
Yeah.
But if the TV show, if they literally used the same script and didn't name it after the game, they'd have probably had a hit on their hands. I'm not going to lie, because it's really actually a good storyline, despite the fact there isn't a whole lot of zombie in it. But it's not bad. So I wouldn't say don't watch it. It's just, as long as you're not a gamer, you'll probably enjoy it more.
So you got nothing to worry about, Neil.
Yeah, I haven't been a gamer since Duke Nukem 1996 or whatever it was.
Long time ago.
I think I did SimCity as well, when not The Sims, SimCity. I don't know if people remember that.
Yeah,
and then before that, it was the table tennis thing, the tennis where it was beep,
Pong.
Sorry.
Yep.
Beep, the Pong. Wow. Yeah, I've been playing Stardew Valley. That's about as intense as I get. So
I
and play Stardew Valley.
no idea what that is.
It's like a life simulator where you have a farm and you take care of your animals and you go on little quests.
I did the community center the other day, and I was so proud of myself. I've never done that before.
You did what?
They did the community center. Like I was having a moment, but no, I'm not a big gaming person.
You did what to the community center?
I completed it.
Oh,
Supposed to gather all the stuff.
Yeah. I did that.
Well, okay, fine. It was an accomplishment.
I'm proud of you. Now keep going.
I will, thank you. No, but speaking of my brother being more of a gamer, the other day he grabbed me and he's like, "You're gonna learn how to play Street Fighter." And I'm like, "Okay." And I assumed that it was just like a button mashing game, and I'm like, "I can mash these buttons, I can do that." He's like, "No, you have to do combos. No, you have to take the controller and you have to flick it in a certain way, and you have to do a Z." And I couldn't get that stupid Z, and I was sitting there and I'm like, "I can't." I'm like, "What is this?" And he's like waiting for me and being all polite as this busty gal with massive thighs does a little bounce back button. And I'm just like, I can't figure it out. And I'm like, well, it's like D&D. D&D is really fun in theory, but the thing is, it's like, is this a guy game? One that you have to remember like a million little tiny facts and numbers in order to
D&D.
Like, this is so annoying. And I'm like, okay, if you're into it, you're into it, and you love the facts and you love the numbers and you love knowing that every single character of Street Fighter has its own specific combo and skill set, and you will just instantly know that these 4 characters are pretty much the same. And it's like, well, I just chose it because I like that person's hair. That's not how it works. You have to know exactly all of the characters and all their skill sets. I'm like, okay, I understand. If I was into this, I'd be into it and I'd learn all the characters, but really I have no idea what you're talking about. I appreciate it, but I don't know what you're talking about.
See, I'm with the W. I smash buttons. I just completed Injustice 2, and I think that you're supposed to be able to do combos and stuff with that, but really I just hit all the buttons and I was able to get through the whole game, so it's fine. You don't have to be that good at it. Especially play it on like easy or normal. Don't like get all crazy.
I don't even have the buttons unless it's on the keyboard. I'm assuming you mean those things, whatever they are. I don't even own one.
My husband plays Xbox, so sometimes I will. Like today. Today would be a good day for me to go play a game because I've got to do laundry and I've got to cook dinner and stuff, and I don't want to. So this is a good game day. Be like, hey guys, work it out, have fun. But hey, that's all right.
That one Max was teaching me Street Fighter, that whatever the button was for roundhouse kicking the guy to the head, extremely satisfying. Like everything else is like triple combo and have a force push and whatever. I'm like, that's cool. I just want to kick you in the head. I'm like, oh, this is fun.
I like mashing the buttons, and then I'm always surprised if I can pull off one of the moves, and then that's really exciting. Like I was Poison Ivy, and she's got this move where she like got this vine that like stabs a person and like throws them around. Like every time I manage to do that, I was like, this is fun. Like, you know. Yeah. But it was never on purpose, and that's how I like it.
Sorry, poor Amorata. She's like, no, I actually know how to do things, guys.
No, fighting games aren't really my normal thing, but I understand what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a fighter game person, even though, you know, excuse me, talking about the move sets, and you know, you're talking about the one with the big breasts and the chunky thighs, and I was like, obviously she's playing Chun-Li, and you know, she's talking about the vine thing. It's like, well, they stole that. That's technically they stole that move from Scorpion and Mortal Kombat, but
yeah. But see, I like those games because when I was a small child, I got a Super Nintendo, and so I was able to play Mario. And then we must have had Street Fighter, or maybe that was when we got the Sega. I don't remember. I was an early video game kid way back in the day because I'm older than all of except Neil. And
I don't know. Depends on how old you are.
What?
I said depends on how old you are.
I'm gonna be 40.
I'm 41.
Yeah? Well, then you are doing great because you've got that skin that doesn't look like you are.
Lots of moisturizer. That's always the secret.
I moisturize, but I think my kids suck my energy out. I look all
that could be too. I don't have any kids. I just have pets.
But yeah, no. So like for me, the whole button mashing games that's what I grew up playing, and I always lost to my brother on Street Fighter, no matter what, even if I knew the combos. So it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, fighting games are fun because you can just flail at the buttons, and sometimes you come up with something cool.
Yeah.
My brother and I were also playing competitive Tetris the other day. I lost horribly to that too. I love competitive Tetris though. Like I was having a good time, but yeah, I wasn't winning.
Is competitive Tetris really a thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? I haven't played in so long.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean,
they have whole competitions.
Yeah, but where you're both playing Tetris at the same time. But the one we were playing, I think it was called Puyo Puyo Tetris. So Puyo Puyo, it's like there's two like colors and you have to do the colors together. Then when you have so many, they delete. And then if you get combos, you get points. Mm-hmm. So there was a version of the game we were playing that would switch back and forth between Puyo Puyo and Tetris. But the thing is that in this competitive version, if you make a combo on your Tetris side, like blocks stack underneath the other person's. So we're like, you know, Tetris is a game where you can totally destroy yourself without anybody help. Mm-hmm. Like you don't need to be like, oh, well, I put more blocks on your side. It's like, no, you can just lose just playing Tetris and see who goes longer. Like you don't need this extra competitive element.
I know we used to play back on the regular Nintendo. We'd play the 2-player, and it was the same back then. You would get a combo, and it would pop blocks under the other person. It's always been like
it's all coming back to me now that we're talking about it. Now I think I want to go teach my kids how to play Tetris so that I can do that to them. Does that mean?
No, that's totally normal.
Have you seen the ad for the new Tetris movie that they're doing?
Yes.
Yes.
Doesn't that look good?
It actually, I'm like, this is the first time I've seen something on Apple that I actually want to see.
Yeah.
How is it a Tetris movie?
It's about the game.
Yeah,
Really?
it's about how the game was invented in Russia, and I believe it's an American guy, and he wants Nintendo, Japan, to produce it. So it's the story of trying to go through all of the hoops and ladders to get this game out to the world.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you guys watch The Toys That Built America on the History Channel, there was an episode about it.
Yeah.
There you go.
But this
But-
looks, I mean, it looks like they worked in some humor, and the actor they
Yeah,
got's
I mean,
actually a pretty good
The Toys That Built
actor. and-
America tends to be a little dry. It's kind of short,
Yeah.
so it looks fun.
I was looking up on IMDb the other day, and I'm going to, what's the guy's name? Matthew Vaughn? Maybe that's not it. Anyways, I was looking up because I really like the one Stardust movie, Thus the Shawl. And I was like, okay, so I'm like, you know what? Somebody really loved this movie. Who did this movie? And I look, and it's direct and produced and in part script written, all by the same guy. But not only that, but the movie that I had watched previously was X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past. And it was also directed by the same guy. And I'm like, what? Like, and then it's like he produced the Tetris movie and he did all the Kingsman movies and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I should be paying attention to this guy because he's, not like necessarily, oh, this is Shakespeare. Like you put out a quality product, sir, and I appreciate you.
Have any of you watched Infinity Pool?
Mm-mm.
The movie Infinity Pool?
No.
I need somebody to watch it so I can ask somebody what was actually going on.
Is that one about they're in that like asylum place?
No, they go on holiday to
okay.
a fictitious place, which is supposedly very loosely based on Dominican Republic, and they have to stay within a compound, but they go out for the day out of the compound, and it's what happens to them after that. And it is a crazy film. It's kind of like, I still don't quite know what went on, so I'm going to have to watch it again. So I was hoping somebody had seen it so they could say, "Oh no, that's what it was about."
Message me the name of it, Neil. I'll. It sounds like something weird my husband would watch, so I'll see.
Yes. Well, it feeds into a little bit of conspiracy theory stuff as well. Infinity Pool.
Okay. Because
It's good. It's a good film, but it's weird. It's a bit of a, one of them where it messes with your head afterwards. So it's not like it's scary or anything like that. It's just that it's like, oh my God, that the repercussions of what they do in it is The Menu. Has anyone watched The Menu? I don't know whether I have.
One
No.
with that's
I
it
haven't.
with Ray Fiennes, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't.
I just finished watching a movie today called The Good Nurse. It's about a serial killer. Very good.
Yep.
But
What?
it took me forever to figure out that the dude who was the nurse was Newt Scamander.
Oh,
Yes, it was a really good movie. You should watch it. But he's
Why
got
does
an
who's that
American
name?
accent.
Who is that? Newt Scamander. I know the name, but I can't think who it is.
He's the character in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. He's the main guy.
Ah, right. Yes.
I can't think of his real name.
I think
Oh,
that-
the British, very posh guy.
yeah.
He was the Dutch girl, or what it was called as well,
I was
wasn't
about to mention that because I haven't seen the Dutch Girl, but I really like him as Newt Scamander. I thought he was good as Marius and Les Mis. I'm like, he's kind of cute, and then it's like the Dutch Girl, and I'm like, ah. And then later, like, I shouldn't have done that. I assume because it was insensitive. I'm like, that's right, you shouldn't have done that. Every time
he?
I
Eddie
don't like
Redmayne,
that
that's
girl.
it.
Yes,
Eddie Redmayne.
But because he didn't have his accent and stuff, I didn't. And then, in the Fantastic Beasts movie, he's got the hair that's like really red, and and he looked like a regular dude. And it took me like the whole movie to figure out who he was. What's the Dutch girl?
He plays the sort of first man to ever have any kind of sex change.
Ew.
So
Okay.
yeah, so it's like, I don't know what year it was, but very early 1900s. So he's a man. I think was he an artist or he was with an artist? I can't remember. One day she asks him to wear a dress. Sorry, Am.
okay, I've only seen the ad, so that's, not much to go on, but it seemed that his wife was the artist.
Yeah. So he was doing a model and she didn't have the female model, so he ended up wearing the dress and it set him on a path to having his bits chopped off, basically. That's the story.
Interesting.
Then he dies.
I think that's
Oh,
how
sounds-
usually. Yeah.
You don't have to watch it now. There you go. I watched it for you, so you don't have to.
I appreciate that because I wasn't going to watch it.
Yeah.
It's very slow film.
Bummer.
Too bad you can't not fast forward, but speed them up. Like when I listen to podcasts, I never listen to them at 1. I always listen to them at like 1,
Chipmunk speed.
1.5, like something,
I need to start doing that because there's too many, isn't there? We can't squeeze them all in anymore.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, it's like those YouTube series, like the Full Metal Alchemist Abridged, where they take all the anime episodes and they cut them up really short and then add extra jokes in them and kind of string it together.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's how I watched Dragon Ball Z. Was watching one of those because otherwise I wouldn't be able to.
Oh, did you see the bit of Russian drama on Craftsnark the other day? There's a really cool crochet design by a Russian designer, and this woman was saying how she loved this design, and then they all started piling on to say, but she's Russian, and we're not allowed to like Russian things anymore,
I missed that, but that was their objection, was that she was Russian.
Well, apparently, I think at some point she'd made a pro-Russian statement. She is Russian, but she'd made a pro-Russian statement. So rather than saying, I'm sorry for being Russian, she obviously was defending her country, which is her right to do so. And they just sort of dived on it because they obviously believe, the Ukraine thing, but, completely. Whereas, there have been some pretty dodgy things that Ukraine have done to Russian people. And you kind of have to look at the whole picture, and also individuals, making crochet and knitting patterns aren't fighting on the front lines. You know what I mean? So it's like not their fault that their country's at war with somebody else. Yeah, a lot of people in our group. Sorry?
Not her fault she was born there.
Exactly,
that's her country.
Yeah, but a lot of people in our group wanted to go and support her by buying the pattern. But the problem is, I think, I don't know whether it's the Russian side that have done it, but I don't think you can buy any patterns from people in Russia anymore.
Really?
So I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know if that's across the board.
And that Etsy for a while was like disabling accounts, even if if you were Russian and then you moved to Spain or someplace, but Etsy still saw that at one point you were Russian, that they were taking out your account.
God,
and
so messed up.
there was know that Instagram, I don't know if they still do, but Instagram was saying that you can no longer have an account if you're Russian. And then I saw, because there were some people from Russia who I followed on Instagram before, they were like, haha, VPN. Time. But yeah, especially and then there was some things about it's like, oh yeah, well, Russians are selling patterns, but they're stealing them first. And I was like, first off, that not impossible, because you can find a lot of craft books scanned in on Russian websites. Like if you've ever looked for knitting patterns on Pinterest and you're like, this is the whole thing, I'm pretty sure this is copyrighted material. Like maybe this is an issue. But that Russians, that if you don't believe in individual property, you don't care about copyright property on the internet. But that Russians themselves, when it comes to crafts, they play to win. Like they're not messing around like we are. They're like beautiful, intricate, perfect.
It's like the Japanese as well. Oh, I got me Japanese knitting and crochet magazine through. It's over the other side of the room, so I won't get it now. And I am blown away. I can't tell you how clever it is. It's not like our magazines, or even my magazine. It's on another level, I tell you. Absolute
Yeah.
crazy stuff in there. It's and everything's charted, so nothing is written out. So it's great for the crochet because I can completely understand the crochet because I can do crochet charts. The knitting one is a little bit more complicated because there's just a few Japanese things in there. It's just enough that I don't quite understand what it's referring to, but I know what the rows are and I know what the stitches are. But I think with a bit of time you could work them out if you really wanted to. But I think what I want to do is I want to try and do an English pattern but in their style, to see how, and maybe put it in the magazine and just see how people get on with it and whether they can follow it. And because it's such a if you can follow it, I mean, with the crochet, I think, though, don't you, Horror? If you can do the chart, it is so much easier than having to read all of that stuff, I just think it'd be brilliant if we could have that over here, and be a bit more, what's the word? It's more visual, isn't it? It's more like a visual way of communicating that information. But yeah, next time I come on, I'll show some of the pages on it because they're brilliant. And the patterns that they create are amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I had a Japanese knitting book, but my mom stole it, and I never got to make anything out of it. So
was it the Stitch Dictionary?
I think it may have been.
Yeah, because that's great. That dictionary, I've got that one. I've never knitted anything in it.
That one too around here.
I just like looking at all the pages.
I know. I don't own it, but I have seen it, and it is very much the same thing. Of obviously we're all like, ooh,
what's this? I can do that, and then you never do.
Yep.
And then just looking at the glossary of what all the symbols mean, it's like, holy crap, what is all this? Some of their cable symbols, I've never seen anything like it. They need something to decipher them.
Yeah, but you're talking about being able to crochet from a chart. I don't know what it is about crochet charts. I look at those and like my brain just explodes. Like it's too much. I don't know that. I know that they are double crochets and different. It looks like, yeah, no, I can't do it. The only
It's
charts
really
I can
weird
do
because
are
it was looking at the chart that helped it all fit into place in my mind. What an actual stitch was. What bit of it I should be counting. Because I was always getting either one too many or one too few. And it's because I was counting the wrong bit of the stitch. But yeah, somehow that made it all fit into place. Has anyone sat down with you though and actually gone through a chart with you?
No.
So you've just been looking at, maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need someone to go through what every bit of the chart
Yeah,
is.
probably. I
need someone.
I wouldn't even use knitting charts until I started doing my own color work, and then I had to learn how to do it. So yeah. Emily says she needs them written out too. Yeah, there's just something about crochet charts that makes my eyes get all wobbly and my brain hurts, and then I don't want to do it.
I like to use both because the crochet chart can, like you said, help. Sometimes it helps you figure out exactly where in the stitch you're supposed to be, and then other times it's easier if I read it to understand what I'm doing. And then sometimes I need both because, especially, I've been trying to do some of the cable knit stuff in crochet, and that one, I don't know what it is with that one. It starts to get a little hard.
Well, with the chart, I've not seen a chart with cable, but do they do it? Do they actually cross the symbols over on top of you? So it must get a bit confusing, that.
Yeah. So the cable charts are easier. The cable is easier to read, but at the same time, I like the chart because of the way it crosses. You kind of it helps if you see what you're doing, because when you're going back the way it has you go back initially, it doesn't really make sense. That makes sense.
I think so, yeah.
So, because I missed the first beginning minutes, did you have a project to show off or not so much? No. Okay.
No.
You're good.
Not right now. I have a bunch of projects, but they're all in a plastic tub in the garage because we remodeled and I just hadn't pulled them back out.
That's cool.
Though I guess technically I do. I made for Christmas some pot holders and the dish towel dresses that go over the
Oh yeah.
handle. I made some of those. I do have one downstairs. If I'd have thought, I'd have brought it up, but I forgot to grab it. But they came out really cute. I was happy with them.
Nice.
It's cool. I told Horror, but I don't think I told you guys. My kids, as they grow, they get more rows on their granny square blankets, and so feet start to stick out. So it was an argument over who got to have their blanket worked on first, but this one was out in the other room, so it won. But that's what I've been working on. I put almost a whole skein on during this show, so it'll be big enough for at least a little while.
Oh, we need to do our crochet timing. We've got to do that soon.
We have to figure out how to like quantify it. Like
It's got to be the same, hasn't it? It has to be the
Right.
same pattern.
that if you're like, is it just single crochet or double, or I don't know, crochet.
I would probably just, a single crochet. It's not like it's a hard one to do.
Right.
And just a straight piece.
Yeah, single either into I would probably, start a line of 100 and the second row as opposed to on the base chain, just because that can be fiddly, but
Right.
Yeah. Let's show up, Tabitha. Just say, ha, you're knitting. Ha.
Emily, I don't have a favorite brand of crochet hooks. I don't have all the fancy ones like some people do. Do you have any, Horror,
I do.
you prefer?
Can I answer that one? Oh, sorry, you go first, Horror. Go on.
No, you go ahead, because I actually have to look up the name.
Okay, I do two types of crochet. I do the Tunisian and I do standard. And the best crochet hook I have found is actually a Knit Symphony. You know, the Knit, we call it Knit Pro. You call it Knitter's Pride, I think. Is that right? So, you know, the one where it's the coloured one. But it's the Tunisian crochet hooks that you can screw the cables onto. Because for some reason, those are really sharp. They've got a really sharp hook on the top. And that's what I need when I'm crocheting. If it's too blunt, I find it really irritating.
I actually like, and maybe it makes me a little basic, but I like the at Hobby Lobby, the Yarnology plastic ones. Those work so well.
Are they the ones with like the it's a little bit like rubbery on the handle?
The handle's a little rubbery, and it's not like that one, but I think they're all downstairs.
Yeah, I have some too. I've gotten them for my crochet classes, but they're like white plastic, and then the middle's got like a little bit of like a rubber thumb grip. I do like that brand.
There's actually the one I'm looking at's got they're actually colored depending on which size they are. So like the light, the one it's like light green with a grayish plastic and little vining on it. But yeah, it's ergonomic, and the heads are usually pointy enough that I can get them through without too much issue. They're never. I know some of them that it feels like the place where the yarn goes up into and the hook, some of them feel too wide and like the yarn slips out a lot. These seem to be just about right for the yarns I use. So yeah, I really like those.
Yeah, I liked those. And my students were like, because I think my my students just have like general metal ones like this. And so when I got them the fancy ones, they were like, wow, I've never seen this before. They thought it was the coolest thing. But the one that Anne held up, that's the kind I usually use. But I couldn't find that today while I was looking.
It's funny. I can't use those ones. I've tried and they hurt my hands so much.
I was the same way. I've tried to use them and I don't know what it is about them. They make me put my hand the wrong way or something.
Yeah, I just like a smooth, with even what you've got on yours, DK, you've got that sort of thumb bit, haven't you, on yours, on that metal one. I don't even like those. It has to be completely smooth for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I love having a place to put my thumb. So that's what I like.
This Vone gave this to me in the full nice set with the different colors for Christmas a couple of years back in our little our gift exchange thing.
Yeah.
So I only have this one out because I have like one crocheted blanket, and it's the stripe. And I've moved a couple of months back, so I found it. I'm like, whoa, I found it. Okay, that's cool. Where's the hook? And then after shuffling it around, I'm like, wait, I found the hook now. Great. Once I can put them together, I can maybe do something. So I had up over there. So I'm like, okay, I have a hook. I might even remember where the like case with the rest of them are. I mean, I'd be really, really going wild then.
I'm the worst. I don't keep like everything I own, my interchangeable needles and stuff. Everything has its own case. My hooks, I have a set of hooks. I can't find any of them. I have empty cases everywhere. I do not know where the things that go inside of them are. It's awful.
Yeah, I finally bought one case and put them all in, so I know where all my hooks except for the really big ones are.
Well, that's good.
Well, I bought a set not that long ago, and I can't remember the name of them now, but they're white plastic, and they're supposed to be really ergonomic, supposed to be really good for your hands. And what I found, and they were famous. I tell you who was using, Arnie and Carlos use the knitting needles that are by the same company, and the knitting needles have like a little ball on the end. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're kind of weird. And the hooks are a bit odd. The problem with them was when you put them in your hand, you think, oh, yeah, these are really nice in your hand. But you try and crochet anything apart from wool, and it just sticks to it. It kind of just grips, and it won't, but it has to be 100% prim. That's it, prim. They're prim handle things. And if you use acrylic, you just can't do it. It just doesn't work.
That sounds irritating.
Because I crochet a lot with acrylic rather than wool. I knit with wool, but crochet with acrylic.
I mostly crochet with acrylic because I'm either making blankets or toys, and so that's really, yeah. But all of mine are metal. I don't think I even have any plastic or any. Yeah, no.
No, well, mine are yarnology now, so because I just really like how they felt.
Yeah. I was really surprised when I bought them for my students, and I hadn't bought one for myself, and then I was like sad. I was like, I need to go get some.
As long as it's not Sunday, you can totally go get them anytime you want.
You know what though? The Hobby Lobby is by my church, and so I'm always up there on a Sunday, and I can never actually go. So it's very tough.
Like, hey, oh.
Is that temptation? Okay. Is it? Is it the devil tempting you? Church or Hobby Lobby?
Because they're a very Christian organization.
Yeah, no, they're closed on Sundays because of church. They're not open on Sundays.
Yeah. Oh, is this why the Craftsnackers hate Hobby Lobby? Because they're religious.
That's one of the reasons, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Them and Jesus chicken. Very, very terrible things.
I say that the other day, we were out and about Sunday afternoon with me with my family, and we were walking through a parking lot. We're like, okay, where do you want to go for lunch? And they had a little garbage can here, and someone had thrown some Chick-fil-A in there. I'm like, hey, we could go get some Jesus chicken, and they're like, it's Sunday. Like, oh yeah,
no.
It's like that. It's like then the person you threw that away. If they threw it away today, it must not work. And it's like manna. It holds over only on the Sabbath. It doesn't. Anyways, but yes, we had to find other options. It's okay.
No Jesus chicken for you. And see that I'm only in because it's like the bigger town. I live in a small town, and I only go up there, and that's where Jesus chicken is and Hobby Lobby, and I never get to have any. That's okay. Someday.
Yeah, my closest Jesus chicken would be Idaho. So
oh wow,
I don't get any.
Where do you live?
Well,
Montana.
Oh, okay, yeah. So no, you're not.
Well, we don't have either in this country.
Yeah.
So.
Neil does not know what he's missing.
I don't know what
godless
Jesus chicken is. So.
Whenever
you say Jesus chicken, I just imagine it's been nailed to a cross or something.
No. You see, this is after it was brought back. So
chicken of the resurrection.
But it must still have the holes though.
Yeah.
But you're still eating it. Hang on.
Oh, is this a bit like eating the body and blood of Christ thing? Is that what it's?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I very briefly went to a church, and it was a very, very yuppie church. But, that they did the coffee and donuts beforehand. And, that normally it's just like rando coffee, but no, it was every week. It was Starbucks coffee and Dunkin' Donuts. It was branded. And I'm like, what a bizarre communion.
I bet it was busy.
Well enough. It was anyways. That's not important. But
Wow, look at DK going. Holy crap.
Oh yeah, no, I'm almost to the end of the skein, and I noticed the time. Like I need to go make supper. It's almost time for that. But I'm almost done.
What time is
Like,
it
I
there
wanna be
now?
done.
It's 4:11.
Ah, right.
So by the time I prep it, we're having
was gonna
chicken
say,
pot pie.
It's 9:11 here.
Yeah,
Not
but
9:11, but 9:11.
It's 2:11 here.
It's chicken pot pie, so I have to prep all the filling and then I have to bake it, and so it's not just like a quick little. Oh well, dinner's gonna be late tonight.
Oh, any of you going to be on Kerry's show tomorrow?
Oh, I have to see about that. I just saw it before I came on.
Oh,
So
I have
Yeah,
it all.
it's going to be. It's not till 11 o'clock in the evening my time, so I'm going to try and get on for the first sort of half an hour, and then that'll be it. I'll have to go because I'll be too tired.
tomorrow night, guys, our friend Carrie Smith is having an anniversary party for her Deprogram channel.
Oh, nice.
She is a year for Deprogrammed, and so it sounds like she's trying to set up a bit of an extravaganza with some different guests and things. And as you can tell, Neil and I were invited, and possibly, I would assume, Anne. I hope. Otherwise, that's awkward.
Oh, that is awkward. No, it's okay. I'm good. Oh, speaking of time zones, Christine from New Zealand says it's breakfast for her, so she lives in the future.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Carrie's party sounds fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it Christine who does the homeschooling podcast?
Yes.
Yes. Ah, yeah. Hello.
So, all right, guys. Anything else we want to hit on before we get going? Because, like I said, I got that supper I got to make.
Yeah, we are past the 2-hour mark.
Wow.
Time
Amazing.
flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
Yes.
Just
So I
go
need
fast.
2 hours of uninterrupted crocheting time, and it's not quite done yet, but it's almost.
No, you're close.
So we've hit all the high points for today. Everything's
If you
good.
want to call them high points, yeah.
Next
those
issue's out very soon, probably the end of the first week of April.
Yeah.
And that's
Cool.
about all the news I've got.
Yay.
We're doing a baby make along in April. Baby supplies, baby knit crochet. Keep your eyes open.
I might have to pop in on that because I know I have a friend who's going to have a baby in the near future. So
Always
Cool.
have stuff around.
And if you don't have a baby to make for, we'll be highlighting some charities that can use things. So,
Or you could make a pattern for the butt baby.
well, that's not exactly what I was going for, Neil. But
Why
whatever,
did-
guys.
Why did you have to take it? We were doing so well.
you got to circle back at some point. You got to connect it all together.
Yep,
That's it,
and there we go.
exactly.
So everybody, thanks for joining us.
Oh, Adam says we should do a Doctor Who episode.
Mhm.
She's like, sure, yeah, okay.
Not-
That gives me time to crochet,
I think
Actually,
DK's busy that day, aren't you?
You can just work on projects. That's perfect.
Like,
So
I'll get so much work done.
I will. It's awesome.
Neil and I gonna conspire on some ISOM patterns.
Yes.
Woohoo.
he left you hanging. She
He
tried to high five you,
Come
Neil.
Oh, sorry. So,
Come on.
hang on. Which
Other
way do you
Other
do
way.
it?
Other side, other
No.
side, other
That
side.
That way.
That way.
There you go.
Oh, jeez. All
You can
right.
see I'm not used to this.
No, I'm not either. So
All right. We will talk to you all later. Anna and I will be on Saturday. Check out Horror Amorata and Neil. They're cool people. And thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Night
Bye.
or good day.
Bye.
Whatever.
whatever.
Bye.